Hello everyone, my name is Lynn James, and in today's presentation I will be talking and teaching you how to tact reinforcing items and food items. I will present you 4 stimulus, 2 of which will be reinforcing items and the other 2 which will be food items. All 4 stimuli were taught using the same teaching procedure, which you will see later on in the presentation on how to do it. So let's get started. So the participant that took place in my study was a 3-year-old male diagnosed with autism. His previous treatments were just attending pre-K, where they had a special ed teacher just working on verbal imitation with him. He now attends ABA therapy 7 days a week for 5 hours a day. His skills include excellent verbal imitation skills, very good receptive label skills, which means if you were to have him sit at a desk and have 3 cards out in a field of 3, and say, "Give me bike," he should be able to pick up the card that has a bike in it and give it to you. His expressive label skills are very low. Because he has such a low expressive labeling skills, the main purpose of conducting this study was to increase his language and help him label what his preferred items are that he sees on a daily basis. For this experiment, I conducted an experimental design where the first 3 sessions were baseline, which means no teaching was done. It was just to see if the child had acquired the skill or not. Before conducting the study, I made sure to have all the necessary materials before beginning. First, I conducted an indirect assessment to ask the parents what the client's preferred food and reinforcing items are. The food was chicken nuggets and strawberries, and the reinforcing items included iPad and his singing bear. The pictures you see here up above are the ones that were used in the study. To the right you see the food items, and to the left you see his reinforcing items. I took a picture of each of these items, printed them out, and laminated them on a 3x5 index card. For teaching each item, I had the same discriminative stimulus, also known as SD, for each one. The response was the only thing that changed, and this teaching procedure was done from the Peak Relational Training System written by Dr. Dixon. I taught each stimuli one at a time, and once the first one was mastered out, I then baselined the second stimuli, which you will see later on in the graphs using a multiple baseline design. For teaching, say we'll start off with strawberries because that was the first one that I taught. I held up a card and no other stimuli was present during this process. I held up the card and asked the client, "What is it?" At first, the client responded with just babbling because he did not know the answer. After 3 days of baseline, I then implemented the teaching procedure, which consisted of verbal prompting and backward chaining. So for strawberries, I started with straw bear and then had him finish ease. Then slowly faded myself out, for instance, saying straw and then had him say berries. Then straw and had him say strawberries. And I had him constantly doing that with me until I eventually faded myself out to just holding up the picture and being able to say, "What is it?" and him verbally saying strawberries. For instance, if the child responded incorrectly, the consequence would be negative reinforcement, which consists of saying no and overcorrection 3 times, saying, "What is it? Strawberries. What is it? Strawberries. What is it? Strawberries." If the child responded correctly, he would be given positive reinforcement, which would be verbal praise saying, "Good job saying strawberries," and reinforcing him with a token. Here you can see that this is a multiple baseline design where baseline data was taken up until the intervention was implemented or the teaching was done. The first one that was done was tacting iPad. Next was singing bear, strawberries, and the last one was tacting chicken nuggets. As you can see on the graph, before implementing a new skill, the client had to have 2 consecutive sessions at 100%. That is my presentation on how to tact reinforcing items and food items. I hope you understand how to use a verbal prompt and a visual stimuli when teaching this type of skill.